I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, Gilles Devers, on to speak. Gilles is a French lawyer and academic, and he will be speaking about the legal remedies before the ICC. Over to you, Gilles.
Yes, and thanks for the organization. It's a very important moment. We have an important crime and the death of a person, so I need to be precise and concrete. First, have we a legal definition of crimes? And because people say that it is assassination or crimes against war, crimes against humanity. What is it exactly? There is not one crime, but two. And the testimony of Lina is very clear to say that there is two crimes. The first is the killing, and the statute of the ICC previews the case, and it is clear that the murder with premeditation is an assassination, and it is a crime defined by the statute of the ICC. So there is lots of precedents of this crime and legal correspondence and very strong work by precedent. The second is the crime against humanity of dignity, and it is the question of funeral. I hear lots of discussion about the funeral, and everybody in the world, from each religion, each moral, each philosophy, say that it is impossible, unacceptable to attack the funeral convoy. But it is a crime defined by the statute, and nobody says that. So it's also important that the crime, it is a second crime against children. And the article is Article 8, 2b, 20, precisely defined that the attempt of dignity. And you have a second document in the ICC that is more precious, and it is elements of crime. And there is a very precise definition in elements of crime of what is the crime against dignity. It's very, very old question in international law, because in very old time, when people, there was war scene, they stopped the war to make the funeral, and then they begin. And in all the situation, there is a dignity for the funeral. And the element of crimes of the ICC say two things. First, it is the principle of dignity is available for living person, but also for deaf person. The principle of dignity is continue after the death of a person. It is not my opinion. It is the treaty of the ICC element of crimes. And the second is the right to funeral, and the funeral must be organized with the cultural impact of the dead person and his family. So the flag, so the church, so all the procession are protected by international law. And it is exactly the case that Lina described to us and that we see at media, and it is the definition of crime. So to be serious with the prosecutor, we have to speak first crime, that is assassination, and second crime, that is crimes against dignity. And the crimes against dignity is of most importance because everybody understands that there is a direct link between the assassination and the funeral. Because if you do not have respect for dignity of a person, it is no problem to kill him, and it is no problem to attack his funeral. So it is the same principle. And that is to say, because the ICC make the principle of dignity in the crime protected. So it is clear that we can act, and we have very, very strong practice in international law with the rule of international customary humanitarian law that is made by the Red Cross, and it is number 115, and it is exactly all the definition with all the reference in the world, because it is customary law, very strong, and also in the fourth Geneva Convention, the protection of funeral is prepared by 130. My opinion is that a complaint is necessary before the ICC for the assassination and for the funeral. First. Second point is there really competence for the ICC? Because we hear lots of it. So I first have to say that I am not in love with ICC. It is a difficult jurisdiction, and we have difficult contact with all the prosecutors. It was best with Mrs. Bensouda. It was really best with Mrs. Bensouda, but it is always difficult. But I understand that it is difficult to work as international jurisdiction and criminal jurisdiction. So we have to accept the disagreement, but I have to demonstrate that I am sure that it is the best way to act, and not only for a paper victory, but for a grand victory and a strong victory. First, the court is not only this discussion, it is act, and I show to you the sentence of the court of the 5 February of last year. It is a very strong decision of 60 pages, and the conclusion is clear. It is an excellent conclusion for Palestinians, for the first to the last page, and the conclusion of the court. And I say the court, I do not say the prosecutor, because you have to distinguish, because the prosecutor, political, is sometimes politics, like all the prosecutor, but the court as magistrates, they are high-level magistrates, and their work is excellent. And this decision of the court is not made by the prosecutor, it is made by the judge. And the court said that Palestine is a state. It is a judge. Palestine is a state, and Palestine has competence before West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. So for the funeral was not in Israel. Israel annexed the territory, but the court has soon said that the annexion of Jerusalem has no value in international law. It is a part of the state of Palestine. So these are concrete effects of the work we made since 10 years before the ICC. It is long, it is difficult, but there is concrete result that we have a state with competence of West Bank and East Jerusalem. And when the litige, the case begin, we have not only Palestine and Israel. We have Palestine. We accept international law, and we accept the jurisdiction of the court. And we have declaration of all the political group of Palestine, that is to say Fatah, that is also group of armed resistance, and Hamas, Jihad Islamic, and others. So Palestine is in a good way with international law and respect the ICC, and all the group have decided to declare that they work with cooperation, are okay to cooperate with the ICC. And in the second point, what we have Israel. Israel say it is a democracy and the state for human rights, but they refuse international law. So they refuse international law. They attack the ICC, and the United States attack the ICC. They take a personal measure against the prosecutor and against member of the court. So there is a people who is in cooperation with the International Court, and there is a people who is in opposition in international law and international court. So it is impossible to have an international commission or things like that, because we see that since years and years we have tens and dozen of international report with UN Nation of Council of Human Rights who are independent and impartial and so that and so that. It is only a way to make nothing. What happened with this international commission? You have actually a court for Palestine. In Palestine, a Palestinian is a man or a woman all over in the world. It is the only place in the world where a Palestinian is considered an alter ego of all the people. So it is an excellent basis to act. And the international, why we speak of crimes, of two crimes. Why, when you have a crime, you choose an international commission with no professional judge, no rule of procedure, and you refuse an international jurisdiction with professional magistrate and with rule of procedure. The inquiry is still open before the ICC. It is a global inquiry, but I work each month with the Office of Victim in the ICC. We have concrete work, and we see that the case is in progress. So it is not to begin a case for the ICC, it is to take part in an ICC. And it will be very difficult for the prosecutor to do nothing for the case of Sherry, because all the world say that it is an assassination. I hope that we will speak and speak and speak to demonstrate that the attacker of the funeral is an overcrime, and that everybody has the right to be cool when he was dead, to have respect when he was dead, and it is unacceptable to attack people who was dead. So we have to make this demonstration to make some pressure before the prosecutor, but with technical ways. It is not only a big declaration, technical way. And I see that the family accept the autopsy. It is really an excellent decision, and I say it is always difficult to accept that, but the autopsy is the most important evidence, and with a bullet and with the trajectory of a bullet and all the information that the doctors can say. We have lots of testimony who know that the bullet is Israeli, and for the funeral we have lots of media reporting, but the testimony of the family, we expect all the proceeding before and after must be read and written on the paper to be extremely clear. And it is with evidence that we make pressure on the prosecutor. It is not with a big speak about crimes and humanity and justice. It is not that it is effective. What is effective is to make evidence to the prosecutor, and then also to read a great paper with all the elements for the two crimes, not only one, for the two crimes, big, all the documents. And I know that the government of Palestine, by with the general prosecutor of Ramallah, makes something, it needs to be a cooperation, but the state has something to do. And the state is a basis in the case, because ICC has the competence for by a declaration of the state, but the family and has a complementary role to act and to send evidence to the prosecutor, and then go to the ICC, make a demonstration before the ICC, want an appointment with the prosecutor, because all the world need to know that there is a complaint for the two crimes, and that the prosecutor, if he do nothing for the family, if he do nothing for Palestine, if he do nothing for Shirin, he will have no future for his court and for this ICC. And thank you for your attention.